Hello Saddlers fans, welcome to the Poundland Bescott Stadium ahead of our kick-off with MK Dons. We're here for a brand new pre-game show, and before we do kick things off, make sure you follow us on social media for all of your latest news, including team news and so much more, which we're going to cover today. So lads, let's kick things off, joined by Tom and Paul here. Team news, one change from last week. Tom, walk us through what we've got this week.
Obviously, just for the one change, as Simon says there, going into today's game, it's Albert Adoma in for, obviously, the departing Nathan Lowe. Nathan goes with our absolute best wishes as we've gone on for the entire week. I think the head coach has said it as well, and you know, he offered such a big thing to the group, but you know, we've got so many talented forwards within this group, as we've seen throughout the season, and obviously, you know, Albert Adoma offers something completely different to what Nathan did, but you know, when he comes in, he makes an impact, and these types of games against a side, you know, that tries to play a lot of football, which you don't often get in League Two. MK Dons are trying to do that, and you know, we've seen it over the times when they've come here since they've come down, that they are a team that likes to get the ball out on the floor, and you know, I think that could really suit Albert Adoma's game style, and particularly, you know, with the quality that he's got in the wide positions as well. If he's a forward that's going to be coming wide of those positions, and then you've got somebody like Jamil Matt, who we saw last week against Tranmere, scored that incredible header. Taylor Ellis setting him up for that one. I think if we can continue to get Jamil Matt into those types of areas, and then produce crosses in from the likes of Albert Adoma, Connor Barrett and Taylor Allen in there as well, I think we're going to see the best of him from again today.
That's it, Albert Adoma, his only Sadler start in the league this season. He obviously scored against Harrogate, didn't he? That day he was coming in for Jamil Matt, so he showed his worth that day. Obviously, he's been great coming off the bench when we're winning games to help us see out games. But you know, he'll have a big job to do today. Got 90 minutes under his belt on Tuesday as well, so that will do him good. So you know, looking forward to seeing him. And you know, he got himself some really good positions, didn't he, to make things happen and create. So you know, I think he could be a different fall for Jamil Matt, but he's someone who can get on the ball, make things happen, and as well, his delivery is second to none as well, Albert Adoma. So Jamil Matt might be, you know, itching for that, you know, some crosses coming in.
Definitely. I mean, Jamil Matt's feeling it right now. He's on a high and he's riding those goals. So I think having someone like Albert Adoma in there, we got Taylor Allen with the best foot in the league at the moment. So I think he'll thrive in those situations. Gents, MK Dons. So the last time we had them here, it was 0-0. But I believe, you mentioned it earlier, Tom, I think we've won 1 in 6 against MK Dons.
Yeah, the form against MK Dons isn't too bad. You know, I think looking at them themselves coming into this, I think it's 1 win in 6 in the league for MK, and you know, they'll be wanting to turn that around. Scott Lindsay's an incredible manager, had an incredible season last year, you know, took Crawley up, and I think that was completely unexpected for everybody, you know, probably within the Football League. It was probably a time where they perhaps people weren't looking at them as going to be the package that were going to go up, but they were that surprise package. Scott Lindsay, you know, he's brought in some incredible players in the last couple of weeks for MK Dons. Dan Crowley being the absolute highlight there. I think a lot of people were very, very surprised to see Notts County lose him, and you know, he was you know, very good in the first half against the Saddlers when we played them most recently on New Year's Day, but got a little bit lost in the second half, you know, when the Saddlers sort of bypassed that and went for the high press. And I think, you know, if he plays today for MK, that could be a really interesting one. But you know, the Saddlers will want to get that, as I always say, that proverbial monkey off the back. Not scored against MK in 4 games in all competitions, so they'll be looking to really put that right today.
Yeah, I think it was noticeable in the last 2 games against MK Dons, albeit against Mike Williamson at Stadium MK. They keep the ball so well, and on that massive pitch, it really suits them. But it's different here, isn't it? You know, a bit of a tighter pitch, crowd on top of you here, which suits the Saddlers as well. But interestingly, since MK Dons came down to Sky Bet League 2 in 2023, this is the 3rd manager the Saddlers will take on. So it's there's been a lot of change at Milton Keynes Don. But Scott Lindsay as well, he's an incredible manager, as you say. He played a massive part in Forest Green's rise into the league from the National League as Mark Cooper's right-hand man. I think Taylor Allen might have worked with him briefly as well when he was at Forest Green, and then obviously he went on to Swindon and then straight to Crawley, and what a job he did at Crawley. You know, he's a very, very good coach, and I know someone who Matt Sadler rates highly as well, and I believe Scott Lindsay was very complimentary of us as well, so it could be the makings of a very entertaining game. There's a lot of quality on show in these 2 teams.
Yeah, definitely, and I think I want to briefly touch on that, gents. We've built a fortress here this season. It's become an absolute booming echo chamber, and that will definitely play into MK Dons. It will play into, obviously, our performance. Now, we'll want to hit them quick off the break.
Yeah, definitely. And I was on commentary last week for the Tranmere game, and I was sat with Tom Marlow from BBC WM, and I said I was a little bit shocked to see the 2 first half goals because I think we scored something like 70% of our goals in the second half of games this year, which, we spoke about an awful lot. We're really, really strong in second half, and we tend to, figure teams out a little bit in the first half and keep ourselves in the games, and then go for that killer instinct in the second half. But you mentioned Paul, the crowd being right on top of you, and if that big stand behind us is full, and you've got that ball going towards it, it can suck that ball into the net. And I think MK Dons probably won't be used to having fans so close to them, scattered around at Stadium MK. So hopefully the crowd can play their part again today.
Yeah, that's it. You mentioned obviously this season how good the home form has been. Obviously just the 1 defeat in the league. I think it goes back to last season as well. The home form was very strong last season. It's something Matt Sadler was very keen to build on, and I think the crowd will be over 6,000 today, which is absolutely fantastic. We're starting to hit those numbers on a regular basis, and like you say, Tom, when that big stand's full and bouncing, and I'm going to repeat what Matt Sadler says, there's no place like the Bescot when it's like that. That's exactly what he says in his programme notes, so make sure you get a copy of Sadler's Shout. Jamie Jellis is your cover star. He's delighted to be on the cover, of course. Really good interview with Jamie Jellis. He actually talks about, his time coming up from non-league and having to work numerous jobs and get up at silly hours after long away trips away. So it's a really good read from Jamie Jellis. So I recommend you picking up a copy of Sadler's Shout today. It's on sale outside main reception, also the club shop, the ticket office and all our bars. So grab yourself a copy and read that interview with Jamie Jellis.
And now look at him thriving here at the Poundland Bescot Stadium. Sadler's fans, we're about to open our doors to the fans, and we can't wait for another hot game here at the Poundland Bescot Stadium. From Tom, Paul and myself, keep it locked.